Cafe Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1829, I'm Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Podcastro Valentino. I like this place because it's also a job that I do, and I like balsa wood, and you can use it to make model rockets, and this is something I wanted to talk about before I forget, and that is, though I love my part-time job, I do hate this one thing.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
The Monday morning blame game. I wonder if it's going to be happening tomorrow. I do not want a Monday morning
Mike's
blame game.
Daily
If I get a call
Podcast
or an email that's all,
yeah,
Mike, we're the one that did this. Mike, we're the one that did that. Mike, why didn't you give me? I don't need that. Homie don't need that. To quote a famous 1990s stupid funny show on Fox, In Living Color. It had some funny skits on it. Was not my favorite skit show. But, you know, it's hard to do a skit show. Skit shows, I always thought it's a skit show. What a stupid skit show. Oh, this nightmare of a show.
This nightmare of a show.
I know. It's me, Keith Richards.
But no, it ain't easy to do funny comedy stuff. But what I did want to tell you is I don't understand. So, all right. I know it was sort of like an African-American Saturday Night Live type spin. Saturday Night Live, for the most part, was pretty white. In Living Color gave us more color. You had Jennifer Lopez dancing and everything. But it also, so what it did was it broke for, Jim, of all things, Jim Carrey, of course, white. His career really was launched on In Living Color, interestingly enough. But here we go with this thing.
And here's today's podcast picture.
It's a strange streak in the sky. That's my podcast picture today, a strange streak in the sky. I have no idea what it is, but back in December, I was walking Basil the Boxer, who you will hear in a moment, and we saw this thing in the sky, and I was just odd. So I have not yet posted this picture, so there it is. You can see it now at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Here's the thing that I notice a lot of the people that I have done radio shows for who are black, the hosts that are black like to use a lot of rhyming things. Like, what is it? Like little expressions that rhyme. And they'll say something like, you can't make it if you don't, Basil. Oh, no, was it? If you can see it, you can be it. That's the one I can remember. But there's all kinds of really colorful, rhyming things. But here's the thing I'd like to point out here on Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere here in Podcastro Valentino and Cafe Anyway, is that just because it rhymes doesn't necessarily mean it's true. There's some things, you could rhyme any words. And after a while, if you're just rhyming stuff all the time, I know some of our great people from the past, Muhammad Ali used to rhyme stuff and constantly. I remember listening to an interview with him once, and he could rhyme all these things, and I was, wow. Oh, so that's true. That's true. If it's a little poem, it's immediately true. Now, also what is not true necessarily is Shazam going to bomb in the movie theaters? I have not seen the latest movie numbers. But what's interesting is that is Zachary Levi playing the superhero Shazam, who cannot say his name Shazam, because if he does, he turns back into the little kid. I think that's how it works. But in the comic books, he was originally known as Captain Marvel. Well, yes, there is now Captain Marvel. Isn't Captain Marvel a woman? Question mark? Yes. She is a woman now in the movies. At one point, I guess it was a man. But then there was in a separate comic series, not even connected to Captain Marvel in the Marvel universe, there was a Captain this kid could turn into Captain Marvel, who is Shazam. Anyway, it's all Cafe Anyway confusing.
Anyway.
So what happened was there was some kind of court settlement, and now DC Comics owns Shazam, but they don't own Captain Marvel, who is actually what that superhero is with the big lightning bolt on his chest. It's actually, even though that is Captain Marvel, it's supposed to be his real name, he's now just known as Shazam. So Zachary Levi is a guy who I knew back in Ventura. I met him through my ex-wife. He was actually in the same drama class as my ex-wife. And when I was first dating my ex-wife, I was invited to a party. She said, come on over. My friend Candace is having a party at her house. Her parents are out of town. Come on over. We're going to, yes. Yeah. My ex-wife is about 10 years younger than me. So there was all right. So it was like a little, I didn't rob the cradle. Well, I guess I did kind of. I don't know. There's lots of male, female marriages, all kinds of relationships that have an older one of this. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that part of the show. Cafe Anyway.
Anyway.
I am going to say, though, I did go to this party, and Zach Levi was there, and he was a very nice guy, and he knew the show that I was doing on the radio. He used to listen to it because he liked country music at the time, and it was called the Santa Fe Cafe, and he goes, oh, you're Matt Michaels. Yeah, I've heard your show. You do, like, the voices and stuff. So that was him. Then one day my ex-wife says, hey, Zach Levi's got a TV show. He's on TV now. It's this show called Less Than Zero. And I said, what? And watched an episode, and there he was. And the next thing I know, he was Chuck. And then I guess he was on Thor. And now he's Shazam. But what's interesting is there's another guy I know who is in radio, and I won't say his name because he probably doesn't want this story out there, but I guess they were very close friends, apparently, him and Zach Levi. And this guy I knew who was in radio said, well, Zach stole an idea I had, and then he acted very evasive, and I don't know, we have this sort of We've fallen out of good graces with each other. We're no longer talking to each other. But apparently, because Zach stole this idea for a nerd podcast, and this guy that I know feels that maybe Zach may have stolen the idea. The thing is, though, there is just everywhere you look now, there are nerdy type shows fascinated with nerdish culture. And I don't know if that's still a big thing as we go outside a cafe anyway. We're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcast Row, Valentino, or if that is on the wane. What's his face from Batman? That shows you why I can't do a nerd podcast. I don't even know Batman's real name. At any rate, we'll see how Shazam does. But that's the Shazam beef story, and that's my thing against people that rhyme stuff all the time, even though I do a little rhyme at the beginning of every show. Did you know that the world's magnetic directions are currently experiencing a shift? If you're a pilot, you know that. Yes, magnetic north is moving. That your compass is kind of confused. This is true. This is my little news part of Mike's Daily Podcast. Also, I wrote down here, I am so underwhelmed with Bay Area restaurants. I was thinking the other day, what restaurant do I just go, I can't wait to go back there. I hope they're open. I don't know where else to eat. Let's go eat there. There is none in the Bay Area. When I lived in Ventura County, I can tell you, that Mexican restaurant on, what street was that? I used to know the name. Like El Capitan. I don't know. I forget the name of it. But, that was a great Mexican restaurant. Always packed. No, can't think of it. And then there was Andrea's Seafood. I used to love that. I went there with my dad. Every time I saw my dad, we'd go there. So those two places pop out in my mind. But here in the Bay Area, Now, if you're from out of town, if you're not from California, you would say probably In-N-Out Burger. Yeah, I'm tired of In-N-Out Burger. Every Californian will tell you that just about, even though there's a line around the block for any In-N-Out Burger in the area. We love it here, but I'm pretty much done with it. The only restaurants that I still really, really like, and I wrote this down. Now I'm looking at it, I'm reviewing it, I'm not that excited about it. There's this breakfast place called Dell's in Castro Valley. That's neat. If you want the same breakfast big omelet type food that you remember your parents dragging you to, or your grandparents, or somebody dragging you to when you were younger, that's the place, Dell's. It's got this old guy in the kitchen cooking, and he pokes his head through the little slot in the wall, and that I'd never been there until President's Day weekend, so I like that place. I like Top Thai in Castro Valley. I've gone there several times. Nice people run that, some good Thai food. And then, what's this? Oh, shoot. I can't even read that. That was not even an attempt at writing a word, Mike. That's pretty bad. Val's. Okay, so I used to not like Val's because I thought, oh my God, they overcharge for every little thing. But now they're doing it a little bit better. The kids took over. Of the founders, the younger generation, they're like in their 20s, they took over, and they started bringing back combos and stuff like that, so that's good. It was delicious. And now I can't even... Tagni Via Limon. Oh, Taqueria Limon! It looked like it said tagline on the Rhine. No, don't rhyme. Instead... go Taqueria Limon in Fremont. Oh my God, those burritos are delicious. They're the best burritos I think I've ever had. Let's jump into this while we're outside a cafe anyway, and we'll say hi to the cafe anyway characters in a moment. I have been enjoying watching the Chinese government news network. Is that what it is? It's CGTN. Oh, it stands for, it's not Chinese government. It's China Global Television Network, I think is what it is. It's their news network. And yeah, I've watched, on the weekends I like watching it a little bit because there's no commercials. And you know why there's no commercials, it's propaganda. But I didn't really get too much, I can smell propaganda a foot away. That's why I can't stand watching late night TV. Because the only reason why these guests show up, Michael Cena, Emma Stone, any of these people that show up on these shows, it's just to promote a movie that they're in. Robert Downey Jr., etc. They're just promoting the latest movie they're in. They don't really want to be there, although they kind of try and make it feel like that, like the old Johnny Carson days when people just showed up just to be on TV and talk to Johnny. I don't feel that anymore. There's an agenda behind everything, is what I think. But wow, I went through all that expository and I don't even know. Oh, hey, somebody that helped me with my live chat as I completely digress. I got this guy helping me on live chat. I was having some issues with my website, MikesDailyPodcast.com. Check it out there. You'll get to the podcast picture, which is of that streak. His name, who helped me out, Guru Prasad. Guru Prasad. Ain't that a name? Woo! Guru Prasad. I never even heard that name before, but that was very cool. So, the China Network show. Okay. They were talking about how in China, and this is why I'm like, this isn't really propaganda, because they're showing their they're showing their Achilles heel, if you will. They said on the one show I was watching, I think, what was it called? The counterpoint, or the something, stress. They have a lot of stress in China. Did you know this? Do you know that? It sounds like a character at Cafe Anyway. Yeah. So they are all about developing in China businesses that decompress the population of China. And I find that fascinating because they pointed out in this show how Americans, we don't really have that issue. Well, I mean, we do. We have lots of anxiety issues, and we deal with stress, and people got high blood pressure and heart attacks, etc. But as kids, they were pointing out, in China, they don't have like these stress release activities like playing soccer or video games, or they're not taught to go out and, you know, have some fun. Let's go jump on trampolines or whatever, play some sports. They're pretty much, kids are left to fend for themselves, they said. So there's all these stress relieving businesses, pressure alleviation industries in China. For example, they've got like trampolines where people can jump on them, and you know, like they try to not take themselves. They have to be told to don't take things so seriously. I find that fascinating. I think that should teach us all a little bit about our own lives when we stress out too much. And we think about, I hate when my boss is always asking me, what are you doing? What's your latest project? How is this coming along? Oh, he's such a stress person. He's a stress creator. Oh, she's a stress creator. When in turn, in reality, we're making that happen. And maybe we shouldn't think of it like that. And we shouldn't take it so seriously. Because China's trying not to, apparently. Or that's what I got from the propaganda show. But one thing one guy said was, it's never too late to have a happy childhood. So, I don't know. Take that for what it's worth. And I'm not going to rhyme right here because I didn't say hi to the Cafe Anyway characters, and I feel real bad, and I should say hi to them right now. Hi, Mark, it's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How you doing?
It's a disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what.
What?
I don't trust anything China says. I mean, they want to take us over and whatnot. Tell you what.
What?
Yeah.
All right, so you're taking them seriously, even though they're trying not to take themselves seriously. Interesting, and look who else is here.
Hello, Mike. I make the delicious root beer. Have some right now.
Okay, I will enjoy this root beer. Thank you. And thank you all for listening to the show. Hopefully you didn't take it too seriously. Hopefully Shazam will be a movie that gives someone enjoyment. And hopefully you have a great week. And hopefully I don't get the blame game. And hopefully this is the end of the show. Because the next show is going to be Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow.